In the first video of this series, we talked about what it was like collecting Funko Pops when we first started collecting. In our second video, we talked about what it's like collecting in 2023. And in our third video, we're going to talk about what we think Funko Pop collecting will be like in the future. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Gastlecast. We're glad you're there. You get the right time. We got an all-time high. Funko's hot toys and charms on mine. Stick around, like, comment, and be sure to subscribe because life's a little better when you answer Chris and Heather. Hey, life's a little better when you answer Chris and Heather. Hey, life's a little better when you answer Chris and Heather. And remember, as each other walks, we are together. Yes.
When we first started collecting Funko Pops, it was amazing. We absolutely loved it. And today, it's pretty bleak.
When we first started collecting, we went hunting all the time. We found things that we had no idea existed. We found chases in the wild. When's the last time you found a chase in the wild on a shelf?
If you told me back then that Funko collecting would be like it is today, I would call you a liar because back then it was so much fun. Everybody was talking about it. There was a lot of excitement. There were a lot of flippers out there making even more excitement and even more entertaining videos for the Gastlecast. And it also seemed like there was a bright future ahead for Funko Pop collecting. But here we are in 2023 and it's gloomy as f***. We often tout ourselves as the gloom and doom channel of the Funko YouTube community.
Well, actually, people have said that about us and we just take it with stride.
But in reality, we're just realists. We like to talk about what things are really like in the community. We're not going to polish it. We're not going to make it better than what it really is. We're going to tell the damn truth. When things are good, things are good. When things are bad, they're horrible. And nowadays, I find myself not collecting as many Funko Pops as I did in the past. There were many weeks where I would literally buy 10 brand new Funko Pops.
Well, to be fair, there were a lot of weeks of you buying 10 plus Funko Pops, so now we don't really have the space to store anymore. And that's part of the problem. But all jokes aside, yes, it has not been exciting lately, and a lot of it has to do with Funko funkin' up. Lots of factors have gone into their decline, which we discussed on our previous two videos.
Okay, so we're in a really weird time for Funko. They're trying to get rid of the smaller Funko Pop shops. They're leaning more on the larger retailers, but the larger retailers don't really want to carry Funko Pops because they don't sell very well. So everything is a complete disaster. Funko has basically changed the way they do things by selling everything on Funko.com or Entertainment Earth, it seems. You will find exclusives at the various stores, but just not at the same level as before.
Yeah, they seem to have alienated a lot of people. They purposely are weeding out the smaller shops, and with overproduction, they've also let the big shops down.
All right, so here's our 2 cents and what we think that Funko should do moving on into the future. Because as of right now, if they stay on the track they're on, things are only going to get worse, and next year we might not even be talking about them anymore because there really is nothing more to talk about. In fact, I found myself recently having a hard time making content about Funko. Things are just dead. No one's screaming about missing a Funko Pop from Funko.com because things never sell out anymore.
Unless it's anime or something with a chase, and even sometimes Pops with chase counterparts don't sell out for a while. It's weird.
Item number 1, which is something that Funko has already mentioned, limiting their Funko Pops a lot more than they do right now. And I'm talking about commons, because Funko makes so many of each Funko Pop that they literally fill the shelves at the stores that you go to. Then they end up at Five Below, and then they also end up at Ollie's, and they end up at Burlington. They end up at all these cheapy stores, which really diminishes what the Funko product is.
It does, and realistically, all that does is deter me from buying their products at $15 if I know in a couple months I'll most likely be able to get it somewhere else for like $5 or $6. Not only that, but they're also ending up on clearance shelves, and that's part of the reason why the larger retailers have been so turned off from selling Funko products.
The reason why Funko boosted up the amount of Funko Pops that they made and stopped doing limited pieces as much as they were is because because they're trying to make the most amount of money they possibly can. And Funko was trying to navigate that the best way they could because their trajectory was making $2.6 billion by, I think, 2026.
They are doing this not only to satisfy their investors because they went public a few years ago, but they're also doing this because of the pandemic. The pandemic sparked a lot of people spending money in other ways because they weren't necessarily spending it on your theme parks and movie theaters or hair services or whatever, because a lot of those places were shut down and they were trying to bring some happiness into their lives. Funko saw that spike and they thought, wow, we're really going somewhere, when in reality, people just wanted a little bit of happiness during a really scary, unknown time.
So what Funko really needs to focus on is not necessarily making a bunch of figures to pack up stores full of their product. They need to focus on community. And the way that they focus on community is by making limited pieces that makes the community talk, it makes the community trade, it makes the community sell, and it makes the community buy.
It seems like even store exclusives and con exclusives are almost turning into commons, because it's very often that you'll see them on store shelves rotting away or on Funko.com just sitting for months.
Well, Funko found a way to get rid of all that shit because they pack them in mystery boxes and sell them to you and me. And we end up buying them like dummy heads.
Yep.
But if Funko released more limited pieces and limited the amount of pieces that go out into these retailer stores, that would help in a really big way and get people talking again. That's really what they need. They need people talking again because people have gone completely silent. Also, getting rid of all the small Funko Pop businesses is a terrible move because the small Funko Pop businesses is what really made the Funko community thrive. Going to a Walmart and seeing a full shelf of Funko Pops, half of them being damaged, does not make you feel like you're a part of something. It makes you feel like you're just a part of the machine. And I enjoyed going to small pop shops or buying from small pop shops online. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of revenue for Funko, but I think that it's very good for the community at large.
Well, not only that, but they are who made Funko who they are today. To basically be Funko and give these smaller shops the middle finger and say, hey, you don't make enough to have a Funko account anymore, head on over to Entertainment Earth and pay a little bit more, is such a slap in the face to those smaller shops who helped to build Funko what they are today.
I think over the next couple years, we're going to see a resurgence of these very small Funko Pop shops. And the reason why is because Funko will need them. Funko cannot be reliant upon their website and these retailers who don't want their If Funko wants to rebuild the community and they want to connect us all back up together again and get us all very excited, they need to work with these small companies, and I'm telling you, that is super incredibly important.
It is. Not only do they have their name in all of these different places in the country and even in the world, but they are hyping the out of Funko. They're like, hey, check Funko out. These small businesses will pay for ads on Facebook and Google and YouTube and Instagram to get their store out there, which in turn helps Funko's name get out there. Without the smaller shops, you're seeing them in your Walmarts and stuff, and they just become like a little knick-knack.
So I think that Funko will come back around and work with the small shops again, because I believe they're going to end up needing them after all these fiascos that they've been going through. Also, I think that Funko is going to go back to doing limited pieces through Funko.com. We did realize that they have a new sort of app thing set up where they're doing like a point system.
Yeah, but that was like a piece of news for like 2 days and then it sort of went away. Like, what's going on with that?
I think something more will come of that around like the fun days and the box of fun drop days.
Hopefully.
I think something big will happen with this. Heather and I had mentioned in the past that Funko really needed a separate website that you get taken to that you can buy super rare Funko Pops. And it might mean that they're a little bit more expensive and a lot more rare. The NFT thing is fine and I enjoy it, but it's so complicated. We need to make things easy again. And that's the other thing. NFTs are turning a lot of people off. And we've discussed this in the past.
And not only that, but there are people who are completionists and they don't want to do the whole NFT thing. So they're like, you know what? I'm not going to be a completionist anymore. And not only that, I'm just done collecting because I cannot keep up with the NFT drops.
I've been seeing a lot of that lately where people are basically saying they're backing out completely. And I believe most of these people because we're noticing there's an uptick of people getting rid of their collections, which we've talked about previously. That's another bad sign for Funko because who knows what the hell this is going to look like in a year from now. If Funko doesn't start doing some sort of improvements and start focusing on things that we as Funko Pop collectors, the core Funko Pop collectors like, then they're going to run into a lot more problems. All right, so Funko working with these small companies again, trying to boost the community, limited pieces. I also think they need to involve more giveaway related things. I think that used to make things a whole lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, they've slowed down on the Funko photo a day so much. It was like, we would see it, I want to say it was something like quarterly, like we would see it occasionally.
Yes.
And then it got to be almost like every single month. And now I haven't seen it in what feels like forever.
I agree. I think that Funko is good at doing too much.
Yeah.
And so if they limit what they're doing, this includes their Funko Pops, their giveaways, just across the board, all the things that you guys are doing, Funko, if you try to limit it and pull it back a little bit, quarterly Funko Photo a Day challenges is perfect. Do not split it between Twitter and Instagram. I think that's so stupid. Stick to Instagram. We'll take our pictures and then we can enter giveaways. That was so much fun when it was like that. And it was so much fun because it was so simplistic. Let's go back to that.
It was so much fun. Different collectors would get featured in Funko's Instagram stories and the winners would get featured on their actual posts. Collectors would follow other collectors and comment on their posts saying, oh my gosh, I love your picture. And it was a whole community aspect of it that we don't really seem to have as much of today. I do see a bit of it, but it's not as community centric as it used to be.
Also, I've talked about this a couple of times, but I want to put this in this video because I hope Funko is listening. Convention events need to change. Convention events have turned into having 70 items in the Funko booth and having a line that wraps around the entire convention, ending up at the big Funko booth.
People complain all the time about the lines. They'll say, well, I had a spot for this time, but I didn't even get in until 4 hours later. And that is such bullshit.
There are way too many pieces involved, so people get in line, they end up buying all the different pieces. It takes a long time to get all the pieces, it takes a long time for the transaction, which makes the line incredibly long. So Funko, if you could release like 10 Funko Pops that are con exclusive, that would be awesome. It would shorten up the line and it would give you more time to do con-like events.
I do understand completely though why they have to do this because it costs a lot of money to do those big setups, to employ people who are making those lines run, etc. They do have to make a lot of money there, but they need to figure out a way as a large company to make this more seamless. And I do like your idea of limiting the amount because if you have one person purchasing 35 items at one time, that holds the entire line up.
Funko, you should consider making a smaller booth space instead of those big monstrosities in the middle of the convention. Make it smaller and make it more interesting. I think if it were a smaller booth and also put on interesting events at the cons, that's what would interest me more. If they go up on stage, they talk about upcoming exclusives and they give stuff away during those panels, that would be amazing. That would be so much fun. So we hope to see a lot more of that.
They do sort of do that with the Fright Night and Fun Days. However, a panel would be amazing, or multiple panels so different people could attend.
At this point, I think it's bringing the community back together again. And because a lot of the community has stepped back and walked away. People are selling their Funko Pops at a crazy rate and we hate to see it. We love the Funko community. We just want to see it grow and prosper in the way that it used to be. The way that it's been over the last 5 years has been absolutely horrible and it has taken away the entire feel of what Funko was before. So those are all the things that we would like to see as Funko goes into the future. We want to see changes made so things could be better. We would like to see some of our old collector friends come back into the fray with us, standing in line at stores for con events, getting excited for Funko.com exclusives. We want to see all of this again, and we want to see the stop to those stupid mystery boxes on Funko.com and overproduced Funko Pops. It's time that changes are made, Funko, and we can't wait to see what you have coming in this upcoming year into 2024. But guys, we want to know what you think about everything that we said. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? We want to know. Let us know all of that and more in the comment section down below. In every video, we like to shout out to some of our patrons from Patreon. In this video, we'd like to shout out to George Blanchard, Simon Holden, Chris Haskell, Sam Studley, Aussie Pop and Paul, Iron Mule Pops, Jeremy Davis, Joel Campos, Rob Smith, and Kevin LaFranc. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. We appreciate all of our patrons. You guys rock. Thank you for staying until the very end of the video. We really appreciate you, and we would love to know what you think about this trilogy in the comment section down below. We've been trying to do a lot more videos like these. We find them interesting, and we hope that you're finding them interesting as well. Remember, as always, we hunt together, yes. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.